welcome back to the channel and another one of our World Cup design playthroughs. And this one's from chrizzce, who I haven't tried to see the capitals because I always forget where they are. And he's got Victoria Pines GC, which he says is based on Pine Valley. He says play from gold tees, no specific conditions, forgiving fairways that play strategically and relatively tough greens. Okay. And it's kind of medium, so tougher CC to elite, depending on conditions. We're going to chuck. I think generally it's good to see how a course plays with a little bit of wind, just for interest. So I'm going to chuck medium winds on, which is usually all right. And let's go southwest. Why not? Everything else we're going to keep as defaults. And let's go with pin 3. Okay. So chrizzce's been in a number of contests and visually never been any issues. Recently, the contest of Pine Valley is indeed. Recently, his golf has gotten better and better and better and better. I thought Torox Costa in the CC design contest, which has just been on CC actually, I thought that was a really good course, and it had some of his best golf holes. So this is like a cool blend of his two really good styles. So like hopefully if he can bring the golf from that one to the visual stuff that he's always been able to do really well, that'll go well. Now, one thing that we saw with the Pine Valley in the other two is it's really hard to nail the bunkering. And I thought the closest we've got in a while has been Honey Badgers on Black Betty Basin, because what it isn't, and I'm bearing in mind this is inspired by, but what Pine Valley does, these kind of waste areas do work really nicely. These kind of bunkers, they are bunkers. Whereas Pine Valley, it's like lots of little bits of sand that kind of come through. You can't really discern where the natural sand ends and the bunker begins. Like, that's what makes it work so well. It's also very visually intimidating, so you kind of got to feel scared off the tee. It looks like we're going to have a bit of that. And I like the way he's tied the waste areas in. If you have 2K21, no, TGC 2019 even, it's worth going and playing Blue River Dunes by Rob Wilson, RJ Wilson. His is the best Pine Valley rendition I've played. I think he nails the vibe, as he annoyingly always does. So yeah, I also kind of would love to see the Pine Valley in full look. I think that looks great. So we've got lots of kind of single corridors, which is what Pine Valley does. It goes around a site, but there's a couple of glimpses between holes, so I'd quite hope that we get some of that. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be too much. We've got a lake. It's always cool. Okay. Doesn't seem to be a huge amount to look at, and I also don't want to peek behind the curtain because you can see how he's used the pines and then stuff over here. So let's go and find where we are. There's a clubhouse. That's always a good sign. Clubhouse here, some heather. Clubhouse is nicely done. Yeah. Mixture of some of the bandstands, like you've got the little concessions things, and a clubhouse and a house. Fun. Right, where are we? So that must be 18. I like the fairway running into the bunker. That's always a good look. Or at least it will play interestingly. Where is my little man? Lost him. Oh well. Oh, we're here. Right, okay. Okay, so first hole is... Yeah, Brennan. Yeah, we're well. Okay, so first hole... I've got a couple of choices. If we go right, then we can kind of use the slope to feed it down, but it's dicey to a front pin. And I like the way you've thought about that by having this little slope behind it, but not on both sides. Like, this is clever stuff that you weren't always doing. So if we play down the left-hand side, we spin back round, play down the left-hand side of this fairway, go here, you're not running away quite so much. Play down the right-hand side, pitching over this and running towards this little slope. Nice, subtle stuff that, like, you won't really realise you're looking for it until you see it. Or until you get caught by it. But then for a back pin, you've got an option of the little backstop, or the spine will kind of help you towards it. So the back pin, very much an easier one. Front pin, slightly trickier. Okay. Well, if we were to go left, I do think we could have scaled the grass a little bit, and it's right in the fairway, which Is it? Pretty close. Yeah, we've got some overlapping. Yeah, I would have taken this a little further away and probably just scaled it down near where we're in play. Certainly. I don't. I feel like 3 would down the left middle as the play. We're starting off with pretty poor tempo. Planting wise, I think the scaling is generally pretty good, like very big pines, which does work nicely. I'm not so sure about the tiny little trees that are in front of them. I feel like there's a you can get this, but it just feels like a huge contrast between the giant and the small. It's very dense as expected. Probably would like to see bring a few more bushes and things out into here as well. If you're going for the real kind of depth of planting that you can get. Okay. I think scrub planting, while it's a pain to do, it really does work well in this game. Oh, it needs a little more. Oh no, we're good. Oh, we're very good. Well, there's a start. And Seb's not even here yet. We'll take that. Okay, hole 2. All right, there is.
Just hit back a golf shot.
Thanks, Rory. There's lots about this I like. It is intimidating. The shoot is narrow but focuses your eye. I might have opened it up just a little on the left-hand side. I think I might have wanted just a little bit more space here. But again, I like the kind of like overgrown look of everything. It's kind of like Pine Valley was before they started clearing stuff out. This is a cool touch. I like that. That's a much better look than the chuck a cart, a golf cart in front of the tee. The bird is great. Looks. I know that's a silly thing to pick up on, but that does make it feel a bit more realistic. The thing that kind of takes me out of it is the giant grass on all the islands, and it goes through the bushes, and like it's just quite heavy-handed with the planting. Like you can be a bit more subtle than this. You don't need the grass absolutely everywhere. You can kind of mix it in and out, and not necessarily plant the whole of all of the islands. And yeah, I think I like all of the things, but it's just very in your face. It kind of just looks a bit artificial, I guess would be the word I'm looking for, rather than looking natural, which is what everything above grass level looks really natural, and then the grass itself just really doesn't for me. Now that said, this style of par 3 I love. I've definitely used this one before. And actually, the hole itself gives me vibes of what is it, 7 at Akashi Shore, with angled green looking out to a river. Like it's a look I love. This spine is annoying because it's right where I want to land my ball, and we're downhill, so I'm thinking about here, and 175 is going to be right on the top of there, plus a little bit of wind. Hey, Strangy. So I think that's probably the play. The spine itself may be a little manufactured, but Pine Valley does actually have relatively simple green shapes for the most part. This would be by far the quirkiest one around. Hey, Rich. Yeah, well. And I'm not holding you to like make a perfect Pine Valley course. That's not it at all. More just you've given me something to comment on, so I will. We'll judge the course that's in front of us. There. That needs to turn. Lovely. 3 under after 2 is solid. Okay. Where are we now? So we've now leapt up through to here, and there is a path. I know Pine Valley kind of goes away from the water, but you just showed us all of this. It would be really cool to have a. I feel like it's a little bit of a missed opportunity not to have a hole going along the water and like, I don't know. I just think we can, just because Pine Valley does all of these separate holes, it would be really, that would be putting your own stamp on it. Look, where's my dude? Here he is. Oh, interesting hole. Really like the green. Loads going on. So for this pin, I probably want to be as far left as I can be. I really enjoy this one. This is nice. I'm absolutely not hitting tempo at all, but that's okay. I hit it when it counted, which was on my second round at Enchanted Rock this morning. So that's all good. We'll find it. I also feel like I'm getting a little bit of lag on this course. But I'm going to save that judgment call for when I'm offline. Or like playing it locally rather than streaming it. Planting here, the underbrush works really nicely. I think I would have just liked you to take like the grass line just a bit further away and like a little bit more space before you hit the tree lines. If you look at the scale of Pine Valley, it does have quite a decent amount of space between where the golf holes start and where the trees are. They have cleared out quite a few. And again, not solely tying you to that, but I think giving things a bit more space generally creates better golf hole and more kind of grandeur. Okay, long par 4. Really like the mounding around the green. That mound in front is going to be impactful. It's an interesting green. Gives us lots of ways in which we can possibly get a running shot close. I'd say all of the greens so far feel very appropriate for the shot you're hitting into them. Waste area kind of forcing us out this way, which could go with. Or do I get a better angle running it that way? We're going to go this way. It's fine. I mean, Brendan, I tend to be helped when there's wide fairways. Right, if I can get in the fairway, I'm generally all right at this game. I like that you've mixed up the trees, and we've not. I mean, we've got a lot of different types of trees. I'm going to assume memory's at 100%, but it's not just pines. Okay. A little bit here. I would like to see the grass a little less gargantuan. That would be I think grass planting is probably my main critique, and a bit of spacing visually. Hole designs wise, they've been really solid so far. And it's definitely got that it does have that feel of being intimidating that a Pine Valley inspired course should do. I love this green. It's small, like there's small targets within them, but little pockets. Like I might even go as far to say that this is like probably my favorite green you've ever done. I love how it's really simple. It sits really gently between those two bunkers. Like, yeah, this is awesome. And it's just what kind of a shot do you want into it? Can you hit that, or do you want to lay up and leave a longer shot? Simple question. Obviously, we want to go for it, and obviously, we're going to, for the first time, yank one into the bunker. Well, I do not have the control I would like going into this one. And 92%. Could be alright. I'm sure it was the miss. Like, couldn't go long at that pin. Did not want to be putting over the little mound. Which is great. Like, when you do stuff like this, it makes, if you get out of position, you have to really think about where you want to play your next shot from. From here, I've got an easy par. From above the hole, I don't think I do. Pushed it a touch. Shame. Birdie run ends. Oh. Love the way this green sits off the tee. The hole maybe feels like it's a little straight for my liking. Oh, that's what the green is doing. Did not see this at all. Off the tee, it looks to me like the green is doing, like, going on this sort of an axis, and it's kind of shallower. Either way, I really like the green side again. I like that we've varied up the green sizes as well, and you've done a lot of good with them. This one's not, well, it's not full driver, certainly. Do you have a bit of an undulating, lost behind a tree? A little bit of an undulating fairway to deal with. I think probably 3-wood down here is fine, right? Runs us into lob wedge, sand wedge distance. Yeah, well, they've both taken the same inspiration, so that would definitely be part of it. Are we gone too far? I really like how you've planted this bunker. Like, this bit of grass stuff is working much better. It feels like it's, yeah, this seemed better scaled. It seems smaller. Might not be, or it might just be further away from the surfaces, but still pretty dense. But yeah, and CG is the guy who designed it. Like, this is why I'd just be wary about putting really big trees really close to greens, because this stuff doesn't look quite so great. When they don't render all that well when you blow them up. Oh, I've missed a putt. Easy putt as well. It is. We've had a lot of good ones come out of this contest. Like, way more than I thought. Okay, hoping the fairway tilts pretty significantly. Really like the land movement on this shot. Kind of an ode to, it's either 13 or 14. I can't remember which. I want to say 13. Tee shot. Love the green. Love the water. False front's a bastard. Yeah. I mean, I think my comments are kind of going to be the same. I'm really enjoying the golf. I don't, the grass in the waste bunker planting just isn't really working for me, but that's kind of about it. And then the sizing stuff we've talked about. We have chrizzce. So chrizzce and his take on Pine Valley, which is really cool, and the golf is really good. Down 18. Okay. There's hints of a Biarritz here, isn't there? I don't know if you can run it through the swale. I don't think I can. I'm not going to try. Oh, this is why I don't try and hit partial 3-irons. Not a shot I have. But a lob wedge pit should be okay. Fine. Birdie with a shanked 3-iron along the route is okay. Yeah, it's the same. It is genuinely the same comments pretty much on every tee. Like, I think we could use some more detailed planting and like different colour grasses sprinkled in. I wonder whether part of that is memory usage. You used a lot of different trees, and like I don't love the like heavy grasses in the bunkers so much. I think there are also different grasses that might have worked a little bit better. Maybe lighting isn't doing us not many favours. I'm loving what you've done with the fairway sculpting. I think you will probably get critiques from people about cutting off a fairway when it's blind, and I would understand those critiques. Again, it's a really good green. It's a really good green, really good green site. I love that you haven't put any bunkers around it. The land movement around it does everything you need it to. Probably would have just taken your tee back a bit. No, so that is part of it. It's like if we're gonna be, well, I can see why it's disconnected. It's a big dip, but you're already running in the fairway over pretty heavy land. I just wouldn't disconnect it there. I mean, if I've gone with a partial and into wind and run through the fairway, I don't know if we necessarily needed that. Pine Valley does break some rules though, so I can and see where it might have come through. Okay, sit hard now. Well, we've already held out once, so it'd be hard to do it again. This pin's probably asking a lot coming out of the heavy rough as well. There is. I think we've got one coming up. I feel like I saw a couple on the flyovers at the start. Or rather, just zooming around the plot. I'll go on then. Hell of a front nine. Okay. Next up. Yeah, happy with that. Went well. Okay. So this one. Classic child interruption again. The price we pay for doing this while one of them's napping. Greens have progressively gotten a little bit smaller, and I think since they got small, you have varied them. The last one wasn't small, but like, I'm really enjoying the variety. This is and that view is great. Okay, looking forward to the next tee shot already. I think this is kind of what I'd like you to have done a little bit more, where you've opened up a view onto another hole. Little glimpses of other holes here and there, whilst keeping this hole feeling like its own unique environment. But that gives us something different, because like I've seen this look quite a lot. Oh, the golf has been really good. I actually don't think the planting's quite at usual levels, but the golf is so much better. Yeah, but like this kind of treed in and waste bunker look, it can get repetitive really quickly. So suddenly opening out over something else, like really good. Now this one I love because it's just daring me to take on going for the green, because I'm definitely running out of fairway if I go straight at it and wave. Like you've nailed the bunkering and the spacing here. The bunker's not doing much for me visually. I think this is where I'd like them to be kind of more random than they are. But where you've put it, so like this one, much better. I'd have just looked at joining some of these. Like when I did get the Blue River file off Rob, you can see he's done some of this as like a starting point and then just drawn random splines through them and joined them up. And it works really, really well. Yeah, I'm not going for it, I don't think. But this is a cracking hole. And I just love that you've gone pretty low profile with the green site. You've not done anything crazy. Yeah. I really enjoyed Torox and had that higher than most in CC, I think. I think the golf on this is substantially better. Granted, it's a more challenging field, but well, at least we save a par. Yeah, interesting green. Lots to like. Is this a 9th? Excellent. I'm just going to pull it back a little bit more. I like the variety in the planting. Again, would really like something between these two grass sizes. This is the third one, correct? I appreciate the ducks. They are tiny, because unfortunately we can't scale the ducks to match the grasses. But hey. Rocks are good. This grass I would look to sink as often as you possibly can. It's great, but it looks a bit odd in comparison to the rest of them. And then just, yeah, the thinning out these grasses a little bit. This one's giving me 15 vibes. I mean, again, green sight and contouring around the green, outstanding. Oh, we've worked our way back to here. Is that what we want? I'm trying to remember which group CG is in. Okay, so if I go down this way, I get a better look at it. It's okay. We can. We're going to be doing some little awards anyway, so we'll do the like. We'll do a Pine Valley one for you. That's quite a short hole, actually. Would have liked this to be a bit of a longer approach, if I'm honest. That's 28 feet up. So, roughly playing to there with this club, and then with a bit of wind. The Crump Award, yes. That's the way. Yeah, didn't quite have it. I think I got a little less of that than I would have liked. I think this green maybe needs a little smoothing out. Like there's one too many of these yellow slopes. Probably this one. And I think I'd want probably this one and then just have the runoff behind it. I don't think you need all of it. It's a short par 5, but I'm looking at where your pins are and I'm thinking probably 1, probably 2, probably 3. And then either you're going 1 here, which is just a bit similar, or we're going 1 here, which is a bit similar to this one, or we're going 1. You kind of just. The claustrophobic cup is a great choice as well. You kind of just limited yourself a little bit with how much micro contouring there is on the green. Not a bad green, just needs 1 or 2 of those little ones smoothed out a touch. Okay. Bridge in the background. I'm gonna say that I don't think this is the best bridge choice. I know that's a weird thing to critique, but it feels very in your face, like, and just large. Okay. I'd have probably put I think a couple of little bits of grass and planting around here. You've got the solitary bit of grass, which makes me think that you did try to do it at one point and then change your mind. I think a couple of little clumps, just very sparse, would be perfect here. Kind of doing the short thing. Again, this one might benefit from a little bit more pinnable space. And that pin back there is brutal. Down 35 with wind. This is the club. Hit the right side, got very lucky. I reckon that landed about there. Maybe a bit better than that, but it's very close to not staying on at all. I like it. I'm not sure. I don't know. This green feels a little bit too funnily for my liking. Just like everything feeds towards pins. And I think you could just do a bit more simplistic with this one. But it's a good hole. It's like that's what it's intended to do, certainly. Excellent. I was hoping we were going to do this where you're bringing the tree line in a little bit more and asking me to draw around it. If we go straight, we end up in the bunkers. If we draw it, we get a decent angle to, certainly to this pin. This one gives me a few little Overbrook Valley vibes. I'll say, is it 16 or 17? Does something like this. Been a while since I played that one though. Should hit the slope. Oh no, not quite. Not really sure where we are in relation to the river, but haven't we just... I'm confused. Oh, I might be breaking the illusion. Oh, it's a different bit of river. That kind of ruins the illusion a little bit for me. Like, yeah. I don't think you'd have lost anything by just making this one bridge and one wide river and just having it go diagonally. And it, because it did feel a bit odd, which is why I've leapt up to look. And like, you can usually get away with this stuff, but you've also got to prepare that people might fly around and look. Shame. I'd like to get to 10. 10 would be a nice score. Okay. Certainly very dramatic and in your face. This is tiny. Some of the scaling just feels weirdly off. But if I were going for that, I'd probably still make it bigger and then just sink it. But okay. This green is less good, I would say. It's more like you can very clearly see there's 4 different compartments, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you're not on the right one, you're just putting up a tier, which it makes it a bit more target golf than the previous ones have been, where they've been much more cohesive. I do like the fairway running into the bunker. As for how you do it, I think this is a shape you could have splined. Like if you set your spline width down to 0, you have to deal with dragging the points around, which is a pain. But this isn't wild enough that you couldn't have splined this bit and then done the rest with shapes. I think that would have been beneficial. Also means you can get the fairway going right the way into it. Somewhere out here. Giving ourselves another look. And then just smashed it through the break. Disappointing. Okay. Cutting off driver here, I'm okay with. Like here you can see, compared to the other one, I want to say 8. Here you can see where you're going. You can see where the fairway runs out. Like, that's all right. I do really appreciate the green that falls off on all sides. I do think sculpting wise, we can just do a little bit more with how it falls off here. This side, I think the sculpting's really good. It just drops off pretty dramatically. This one, I think it just stays a bit flatter longer than it needs to be. Oh, into the bunker's good. Yeah, and here you've splined it and it still looks a little ragged, but you can do that even more. Definitely a 3 would. And then you've given us a flat plateau versus like tumbling down to this part if we want it. Green again is good. I really like this little raise here. which makes me want to try to go as far left as I can. I don't know if I can get that angle necessarily. We'll give it a try. Having said I was going to hit 3-wood, I'm just going to try and... Oh, I've gone way too far. Did not judge that partial at all well. Get in the bunker, please. Heavy rough. Damn it. And I didn't get the angle. Well, okay. The miss cannot be long. I think that's going to be good enough and just hit. No. Knew it was dicey, but I was hoping it would take the... I was hoping it would take this bit and come back this way rather than taking this little bit and go that way. Well, can't say I didn't deserve it for the tee shot. That will do nicely. Fun recovery shot. Like, that's part of why hazards are there. So, gives you a chance for a really cool recovery. I'm really enjoying this one. Okay. Big sort of hogsback thing. Yeah, majors are different. I have to work out why this contour is here. All of the other ones have made sense. This one which is why I'm questioning this one. I'm a bit perplexed by it. Can't ever really use it as a backstop. We're always ending up left, so kind of had it been on the other side of the green or like this way, and you want it to be on the right of the fairway so that you're hitting that more of that angle and thereby avoiding it. Yeah. This side it just kind of doesn't really feel like it's coming into play unless I miss way right. I guess. Okay. Anyway. Perfect opportunity for a C hazard hit into hazard. There's the slow. Right. I think even I can hold that part, right? Slow down a little after the front nine. Visually, I like this one a little less. It's just got... This is moving away from the Pine Valley style in that previously your bunkers have been really well integrated with the planting. This just feels like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 massive bunkers. It doesn't work quite so well, and a little waste area in front of the tee. And this is our long, so kind of Pine Valley 7 inspired, I guess. So the key for this one's always going to be the second shot. Like, where are we laying up? Well, the green is certainly forcing that. Okay. We're laying up this side. And so that way we have a pitch shot kind of as much down this as we can do. Don't spin too much. That's a dicey pin. Well, I think the green makes this one. It's definitely a 3-shot hole. I don't know if I love the fairway in the layup area. I think partly because of how the bunkers are. If you'd made the bunkers a bit more random and dug them in a bit more, like tied everything in, I think this would work a little better, and you can justify this shape that's a bit more... If the bunkers are a bit more random rather than man-made, or like, here's a bunker, here's a bunker, here's a bunker. If they're waste areas, you can get away with much more irregular fairway shapes, and it looks more natural. I like the hole and how it plays. Just another one I've hit too hard. Another really good par 3 look. Possibly my favourite look of all the par threes, actually. I think because you've given us just enough space on this side to make it work. Very interesting land on this one as well. And I really like on some recent courses you've bought into doing this sort of stuff much more than just hit it here and it ends there. That's. And we still have the option for target golf if we miss the shot we want to hit. But like, there's also other ways to get the ball to the hole, which is always fun. Mm-hmm. Turn back. Leather run. Had a lot of practice recently, and so we come to 18. See, this side is hinting at doing a little bit more space, and I think it's so much better because we've got this wide expanse, and because of the big view that you've got, everything feels grander and just bolder. Even though realistically we're only ever hitting over the corner, right? Like, that's the shot, but all of the space you've given us left makes a big difference. A little bit of fade. Yeah, so it's way around the corner, shortens everything. This is my least favourite bunker on the course. It just exists and it feels really out of character to the rest of them, and you don't need it. That's the confusing thing. Yeah, oh, definitely. The bunker at the back, however, maybe not the shaping, but its function I love. Oh, this is a pin no one wants. Imagine if you'd laid back a bit off the tee. Here's a par 5, granted. Hadn't realised that. Sloping lie. Well, this isn't going to go well, but we've got to go for it, right? Yeah, and I think with Pine Valley, you're probably going to get the same few holes. Like, everyone's going to be inspired by 7, everyone's going to be inspired by 10 at some point, I would think. 14 for sure. 13, 12. 12 definitely. Less though 13, even though 13's a better hole. What else? 2 usually is a big inspiration hole. There you go. There you go for Brendan. Just goes to, and there were quite a few missed putts in there. Just goes to show if your tempo's on, it's very scoreable. And he did say it's like forgiving strategic fairways with some difficult greens, and I'd be inclined to agree. As it happened, I made some pretty good shots on the front nine and got, yeah, I mean, starting with the first. I mean, in summary, it's my favourite course of yours by a mile. It's not even close. And I liked Torox a good amount. Obviously, this is a stronger contest field, but I think this is going to do well. I think it stands a decent chance. Can't remember which group. Is this in Group A? Maybe. There's loads of groups where it's going to be tough for sure. Um, but this stands as good a chance as any, I think, in getting out groups. Now, as for the holes, I can remember quite a lot of them. I think 1 and 2 were kind of gently hitting their stride. I think I had critiques on 2. I liked 1 for the most part. And I want to say from about 4 through till 9 was just really, really strong. A couple of holes on the back, I think you lost your way a bit with the bunkering. And most of my main critiques are like kind of visual, kind of scaling stuff. And what I did, things I did like, and I wish you did a little bit more, were opening up on views onto different holes, like you did between 8 and 9, I think, or was it 9 and 10? One of the other. Like doing that creates that sense of cohesiveness and that we're playing the same golf course and really grounds that environment. I didn't love the thing you did with the bridge and splitting that, and like you're good enough not to need tricks like that where it's just like cheating, and just putting stuff where it doesn't really make sense. And in a contest, like judges do look at that stuff. Like, I think whole design's really really good. Like loads of really interesting ones. There are some on there on that course that I can tell you right now will be, if I was putting a 1 to 18, my favourites in the contest. at least one, if not more, are coming from here. Particularly that dog leg potentially drivable path 4 on the front. I'd say 8. No, definitely not 8. 8 was long. Maybe 6. I think 6. I thought. Well, no, sorry, it's 9, isn't it? 9 was brilliant. Um, the greens were really good for the most part. There's a few where you just kind of either overdo it or it gets a bit tiered. Um, but the consistency is so much better than it ever has been. Visually really good. Didn't love the grass as I mentioned, and I think just thinning that out and mixing it up a little bit more would have done wonders. But it's really strong. Um, yeah, really enjoyed that. I was kind of expecting to enjoy it and hoping, very much hoping to enjoy it after loving Torox as like a breakthrough moment, if you will. I think you've done a lot of good stuff in the past, but Torox was the one where I really felt it was just like the whole designs are really good. And then this is a real. I'm delighted to see you build on that and go even better. So we're going to cut the stream here. I'm going to come back in a minute with another one. We're going to play a Sillamar. Yeah, those of you watching on YouTube, just go and play the course. It's really good.